Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Whoa, crazy.
All going for the start movie, right?
He's been working out.
Thank you, man.
Busting doors open. All right, let's do it. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Market Trends this month. This is good. It's been a while, Darcy, that we've been sitting on the couch. Funnily enough, for those on the podcast, you won't know this, but we're literally sitting like I'm holding your hand almost.
We're here.
On camera, you'll go with that. But so a little bit different. This is going to be an interesting, more of a chat podcast. I think this is episode 8 or 9. We've had a little bit of a break.
Let us know at home. Is
Yeah.
it episode 8 or 9?
Following along. What episode are we up to? But Darcy, why have we had a little break for the last 2 months? What's been going on in our worlds in the last, say, month or two?
It's been unreal. So, Germany, what date did you get into Germany? You flew into Frankfurt on the 2nd of July. 2nd of July.
We left on the 2nd, yeah.
And so we had 2 weeks, it was 14 days. You were away. In Germany, shooting the documentary coming up for the Project Principal, which was an incredible 2 weeks.
Life-changing.
Life-changing 2 weeks.
And that's not just a buzzword that you say when you're like, oh, it was really good. Like, legitimately life-changing.
Yeah, it went in a direction we really didn't expect it to go, which is great. Creates a bit of drama for the documentary, which we can't get out there.
Plenty of
November-ish, December-ish, maybe a little bit earlier, who knows?
Yep.
And then we officially started Bravo on last Friday, which is pretty cool.
We are in business. It's official. So we had a meeting in Brisbane.
Mm-hmm.
The accountants getting it all official.
Mm-hmm.
The PTY Ltd. It's all happening. We got our first client.
Yeah.
Before we even started.
Ripper.
I don't know if that's legal. No trading entity. Anyway, we'll work that out. But anyway, so we took a couple of months off from the podcast. I've literally just uploaded one from the one that we recorded when I was in Shepparton and you were in like Barcelona or something.
Nice. Yep.
So it's up there. But this one is fresh. We're getting back into it. So essentially for those that might be tuning in for the first time, podcast or the video, feel free to check it out on YouTube, Facebook pages. Just simply search Market Trends this month. You should be able to find it.
Nice.
But a lot of people ask, where are they coming from? What are these market trends? And it's a good question, but we get the privilege of working with companies all over the world, people all over the world, salespeople, and look for the patterns and clues that either lead to some tremendous results for them or some serious heartache, those phone calls saying, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And the interesting part, they could be ranging from, solopreneurs, mum and dad businesses, right through to $100 million plus companies. But the patterns are all the same, and it's probably because we're just made up of people.
Yeah.
And so at the end of every month, we like to look backwards and go, what sort of questions did we get asked this month? What happened? And then kind of dig a little bit deeper into a format that you can take into this month. We're putting this out in August, so this is July's Insights.
Nice.
And so I think we should just jump right in.
Let's dig in.
Cool. So number one is, I wrote here, visibility is what truly matters for when it comes to focus and focused action. And this one takes the number one spot for the biggest cause of bruises and cuts, in my opinion.
Okay.
People that have got serious heartache.
Okay, so define visibility for us.
So visibility is actually physically having something on a wall, on a page, on a screen, like you can literally and physically see it with your eyes.
Nice.
And so I believe that having zero visibility over the things that you want to achieve, the goals you want to smash, or the thing you want to improve, means that you have limited, if not zero, chance of achieving said thing. It's a big call. It's like being in a plane traveling from Toowoomba to Melbourne. Outside conditions are terrible. It's looking grim. The fog is thick, yet the plane can still land because the pilot focused on the dials, the gauges, and the instruments for feedback. Imagine if the outside conditions were terrible and the instrument cluster turned off. Mm-hmm. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Business and sales is no different. Even if the outside conditions are not favorable right now, but you have visibility over your next 5 opportunities or your next 5 years, you have some metrics to look at, and don't overcomplicate this. And if you have a trusty whiteboard, seriously, we need to start a whiteboard company, Sideline. They're the best things ever. We should actually do that.
That's not bad.
You got something nearby to map out. You got a strategy in place, and then you'll be in a good position to land the plane. If not, death.
Nice.
So it's a big call. I'm taking it to the nth degree. I know that it's probably not that.
I think you have to. You have to take things to the nth degree for people to get the message, right? You need it's an all or nothing. Like you were saying, yes, there's no point finishing fourth.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to describing these type of market trends, you need to take things to the nth degree. I used to have this cricket coach who always said, now boys, when you're training, when you're bowling, make sure you over-exaggerate everything, like everything in your action. Bowl to 110%, because then when you get there out in the game, you'll bowl to like 70% because fear comes in, right? So I think you need to like oversell it, and then knowing that people will listen, they'll undersell it to themselves, but still, land amongst the stars rather than the moon. Anyway, the thing that I think is really important here is you've mentioned that unless there is a picture, unless there's something you can visualize, it won't occur. It won't happen.
Correct.
And I completely agree with that. I used to have a client who is, she's a math magician, let's call her. Like she's got a master's, a doctorate in just mathematics. Like she's maths through the roof. And I remember we were having a conversation one day. I said to her, now obviously you're more of a logical thinker than an emotional thinker, right? There's two sides of the brain, logic and emotion. I said, you're obviously a logical thinker, being the maths whiz that you are. And she said, it has this for assumptions. She's like, no, I'm actually quite emotional. I'm much more of an emotional thinker. I actually, when I think of numbers, I actually see them as colors and how they actually all come together. So it was vision the whole time. I completely assumed that numbers are just numbers because they're numbers to everyone.
Got it.
But she was so good because she visualized things, not just knew that they were there as data.
Totally.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Every client I work with, and I know I've experienced this within myself, I see patterns of human behavior, but I don't see them as A equals B equals C equals D. In my mind, everything's a picture. When I think of human behavior, I can see the categories, I can colourify them, I can do,
Totally.
And you speak to anyone who's a master of their field, they're most likely visionary in that field. And visionary, that word vision, is all about seeing. So most people will be able to see things. Same thing for companies. If your people can't see the vision of the company, they literally, in their mind, can't picture the vision of the company. They're not giving themselves anything to move towards. Something like 50% of the neurons in the brain are devoted to imagery and vision.
Wow.
And the other 4 senses are divided up between, they're left to fight for the scraps.
Yeah.
Vision is everything.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. That's really interesting, even the words that come from it, to be a visionary.
Yes.
Vision.
Yeah.
Like it's literally to see.
Totally.
And so if you cannot see, and it astounds me, guys, even this morning, I'm training some companies. These are big companies. And I said, cool team, so where's your hot list up to? I always say that every month you need to have a hot list. Legitimately a whiteboard. They're like, no, but Steve, we've got all this tech stuff. Yeah, but the problem with tech stuff is you press the minimize button and now it's not visual anymore.
Nice.
It's stuck in your computer somewhere. I'm like, legitimately get me a whiteboard. Yes, screw it to the wall, and yes, write up the top 10 opportunities we're going to close this month.
Nice.
And I want you to stand in front of it every day. And I said, hey, where's your top 5? Where's your hot list? Oh, no, we haven't done it. So you're saying to me that client is not important enough to you that you won't even bother pulling out a pen and writing it on the wall. When I'm telling you, hey, here's the phone number. Sorry, Steve, let me get a pen and paper. It's important to me. Like, come on, get your priorities right. Anyway.
Nice.
Coffee order's in.
Coffee's just arrived.
We are under-caffeinated, and Matt, the videographer genius, has just delivered us a coffee. So, man, that's number 1. Anything more to add? That was really good.
No, that's cool.
I really like that. We need to spend more time physically together to see you.
Yeah.
All right. You're going to love this one, Darcy.
Okay.
Trend number 2. This one has come straight from the man himself, so I'm going to let you do a lot of talking on this one.
I should be able to handle that.
All you do is talk. Number 2, you're trying too hard. Just chill out. And so, little quick blurb. I want to keep this one snappy. It's an interesting phenomenon that the more you chase after something and are desperate for it, the more it runs away from you. Yet when you're in a place of confidence and certainty, said thing runs towards you. And sales is a game of transferring confidence. So if you're famished for a deal and haven't eaten for a while, ensure that you don't get commission breath and become a beggar. It's simply not nice to be around, and you'd be lucky to get 50 cents rather than a healthy $50, 500K or 5 million. On the contrary, if you don't try at all, you can fall into the trap of being a sloth. Not sure if you've seen the latest David Attenborough doco, but sloths don't get very far very quickly. Don't be like them either. The answer? Balance, my friends. Balance. It's about finding the nice middle ground where you're satisfied but not full and also not hungry. A practical way to do this is giving yourself space to think in terms of the long game rather than the short. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Sometimes you catch a heap, sometimes you get nothing. Good news is you'll live to tell the tale, and there's always another tide to come in and out.
Nice. So we went for a hit of golf yesterday.
What was the score, by the way?
So we went for a hit of golf yesterday, and basically what happened was we were discussing this where, you know, in golf it's such a...
Oh, that's really funny. I just burnt my mouth.
We were discussing before the podcast that you can't get black coffee in a takeaway mug because you always burn your mouth on it. Anyway, that's great. Anyway, so, you know, golf's a good analogy because the harder you try and hit the ball, the further sideways it goes, okay? And if you're Steve, it goes even further sideways.
Oh, please.
So another one is a great example is I was working with, I wasn't working with a client, she was a prospect actually. I saw her come up on my Facebook feed. And she did this post, it was brilliant. She probably doesn't even realize the brilliance behind it. But this one sentence she said, she's a runner. She's like a elite level runner. And she said this post, in this post, the harder I try to run, or the faster I try to run, the slower I go. The harder I try to move, the harder I try, the less smooth it is, the more clunky it becomes. Whereas if I just naturally move at my natural running pace, the flow of things takes care of it, right? And that's very ethereal. That's an extremely ethereal way to say it. People are like, okay, so time to get in flow, and they don't know how to practically do that. I think it comes from the analogy that you used. There's a difference between being quite natural and organic about things and being lazy about things. So I can try and hit my golf shot as hard and as fast as I can, it'll go sideways. If I go back to the other end of the spectrum, I get extremely lazy and the ball doesn't really go anywhere.
Don't set up, you know, sloppy
totally.
with your feet.
This is easy, I can just do it myself.
I won't even
right?
set up, I'll just go walk and I'll swing as I'm walking.
That's it. Yeah. So if I could give an example of the best way to be practical about this, it's to get to the point where you start thinking about things and stop there, right? So if you're getting to a point where you're like, okay, I reckon that's a great decision, I'm gonna do that, then do it then. What'll happen after that is you'll come up with reasons why not to, and then you'll come up with reasons for why they shouldn't be a reason, why they should be a reason, and then why those reasons shouldn't be a reason, they should be a reason, or shouldn't be a reason about a reason. And then you've overthought it, and then you're clunky, then you're out of flow.
What am I doing?
That's it.
What is life?
That's it. Yeah. So there's this pinnacle moment where you're not lazy, but you're not overthinking. You've realized it's a good decision, move.
Be decisive.
There you go.
That's really practical and also very good.
Nice.
Nicely said.
Thank you.
Coffee. My face is on fire. My tongue is falling off. All right, number 3, you have to be different. This is my favorite. It's not a quirky thing to think about. It's actually a survival necessity.
Nice.
Okay, so this one's a little left field, but go with it for a moment. Everything in your mind, heart, and body will probably tell you to fit in, blend in, be the same, play it safe. Why? Because there's less risk there. Don't believe me? Go to your local shopping centre, stand on a table in the food court and start singing your favourite song as loud as you can. Yeah, thought so. Much safer to sit and eat your Zinger burger with the rest of them. However, when it comes to products, services, business models and sales, it's crucial that you don't fit in, blend in, be the same or play it safe. Otherwise, you're simply a commodity that can be wiped out with someone or something else who can do it better, faster or cheaper than you. What you want is an unfair advantage, something that creates leverage in the market whereby they need you more than you need them. If you aren't clear on this, I'd suggest you get together as a team and start to explore it. Put some strategy in place, begin to innovate, develop that mafia offer, and most importantly, have the gusto to actually share it boldly with the market. If you get stuck with this, drop me a line, probably my favorite workshop to facilitate.
Go for it.
I want to touch on the mafia offer. So the mafia offer, I didn't come up with this. I think Dr. Eli Goldratt, the late Dr. Eli Goldratt, genius.
What a name.
Yeah, have you seen much of his stuff?
No.
I'm going to hook you up with him.
Okay.
He's a legend.
Okay.
he was talking about ROI contrast before anyone even really fathomed that in the area of sales. Like everyone's talking about features and benefits in the 80s. He's talking about ROI contrast.
Nice.
And like pricing models, that cost plus margin is stupid. Like sell based on ROI and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, but he developed this thing called the Mafia offer, which is essentially something that you just can't refuse. And explore it from all the different angles whereby you actually hold a whole bunch of risk. Number two, nobody else could really replicate it. It's something that is yours. But three, it really makes it a no-brainer decision for your client. So Elon Musk did this in South Australia when he said, all right, I'm gonna fit out some batteries for your crew because you've got some power problems. It's a $60 million project. I'll get the whole thing done and commissioned in 90 days or less. If you're not, you get the whole lot for free. It's very hard to walk into a boardroom with the South Australian or federal government after sitting in the boardroom with Elon, who's essentially given a $60 million bet on a very defined problem that he can solve.
Wow.
That's it. It's a $60 million bet. But guess what? They had to turn the thing on day 89 because it was a hot day. Everyone was turning on air conditionings and they were getting power outages. So who needs who more at the end? It's incredible. But do you have the gusto to go, I'm willing to put this on writing? Am I willing to put together a business model whereby there is zero risk for you as a client? It's all upside. The next thing was MH370. There was a search crew. I think it was a $40 million tender. Could be less, could be more. Don't know the numbers. It was a big number. They said, all right, give us 3 or 4 months to find this plane. If we don't find it, it's cost you nothing. If we do find it, you pay us $40 million. What they got to lose?
Yeah.
Everyone wants closure. It's a worldwide topic. They want to find this plane that's in the ocean somewhere. What they got to lose?
Yeah.
And so it's a bet. And so I think it's a big one. What is the leverage point? Playing it safe is the worst strategy of all.
Nice.
You're just simply a commodity and Jeff Bezos will destroy you.
Yeah.
And so like if you want to die, then fine. I suppose you're going to die either way, but you're going to get obliterated real hard if you're playing it safe.
I like what you have done recently, and this is not a pre-organised plug, but you have some online videos, an online program you've just released. What's the name of that?
21-day sales challenge.
21 Day Sales Challenge. I was wondering whether it was part of the Equip Consulting Online, but it's not. It's different.
It's Eco, yep. As well. Yep.
So the 21-day challenge, and you've said in the emails, I was reading the emails, you've said, do this course. And if you don't love it, or if you don't get the result, not only will we give you your money back, but I'll give you $50 of my own money. I'll go back to you. You'll make $50 if this is no good for you, just as a way of saying thanks for your attention.
Yep.
See, that's brilliant. It's an offer you can't refuse.
Totally.
I think that's brilliant.
And it works because the client I was just in down south last week. So that's what got him in. They go, you know what? Worst case scenario, double money, but he actually said, I was just happy that you were willing to put you were just willing to back it up. They got to day 8 as a team. And then he rang me up and said, look, we need to do some sales planning. Can you get down here? And so the $50 sale turned into a $5,000 sale.
Yes.
Plus travel. And so of 100 times multiple, but that was the way in.
Nice.
But if I wasn't willing to say, you know what, I'll back it. I think it's going to work for you. It's good.
Yes.
He would never have got into the funnel.
Nice.
Which means I know if I played it safe, I'd have nothing.
And how many, talk about being different, how many people are willing to put their own money on the line back the other way? That's a point of difference. Nice.
It's good. Number 4. How are we going for time? Is these cameras going to time out or anything?
I'll start them up again. We'll crack on.
Okay, we'll keep it going. Cool. Good podcast. Number 4, head, heart, and gut. Use all 3. I'm not even going to read my thing because I've literally said, this one is a little strange. However, thanks to my good friend and business partner, Darcy J, Smyth, and a few steins and a book writing expedition to Germany, goes on. I'm just going to handball it straight over to you, mate. You're the master of this. You taught me this. It's all thanks to you.
Sure. Okay. So what a lot of people ignore in business is the intuition or the natural ability that their body and mind and heart have to make decisions. If I said to you, how do you make your decisions, or how do people make their decisions, and what's the functionality behind that? Most people will say, well, the brain does this thing where it contrasts, risk and with with reward and then decides, okay, that's what I'll move forward with. Most people, 90% of people, would say it's a brain function making a decision. And it is when the brain needs to be involved, okay? But how many times have you made a decision based purely on feeling? And someone goes, why'd you do that? And you say, I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know, something was off. And if I was to say to you, was that your brain that told you that? Again, 99.99% of people go, nah, my brain had nothing to do with this. I felt that in my guts.
They literally point to
They point to their guts. Yeah, I had butterflies in my stomach. My heart was thumping, right? No one goes, oh, my neurons were firing.
My brain was firing.
Yeah, the frontal lobe and my occipital lobe were connected like you wouldn't believe, right? So most people have this intuitive sense of making decisions with their whole body, brain, heart, gut. But they're not even aware that that's actually how they do it, right? So if you become aware that your gut and your heart are as involved in making decisions as your brain, well, you're going to be making decisions that way anyway. But now, if you're consciously aware of it, you can actually tap into your gut and tap into your heart and literally ask it, hey, this is where it gets a bit weird. Like, hey, heart, what do you got for me? Like, what are you trying to send me here? Like, just take a moment, take 2 to 3 deep breaths, focus on your heart and go, what do you got for me? And you'll receive something. Like you'll receive something like, go for it.
There's communication going on.
Yeah, just there's communication going on. Or your gut will say something else. Now, this is just going so deep for a podcast on business. But anyway, basically what you want to know is that if ever you're struggling to make a decision, believe it or not, your body knows the decision that needs to be made. Your body and your brain are very aware of the correct decision to make. You just need to give it the space to let you know what that is, okay? So if you're unaware of what the decision needs to be, most likely your gut is not talking to your heart, or your gut is not talking to your brain, or your brain is not talking to your heart, or your heart's not talking to your gut, or there's one of a triangle of communication. One of the cords has been severed.
Yeah.
Most likely, if it's your gut, if you can't tap into your gut, you most likely ate junk food for dinner last night, right? So it's spending all this time processing and digesting crap food, and that's taken up all of its time and attention, and you lost it as a chance to help you make a decision, right? If your heart isn't working, chances are you're not following what it is you're passionate about, and you're actually you're on a line. You're aligned with a vision that isn't important to you, and so your heart is spending all this time stressed, trying to focus on something it's not really focused on, and you can't tap into it. Does this make sense?
Totally. That was a big thing for me in Germany when you'll see it on the documentary. It was quite a profound experience, and like I said, life changing. But when sometimes as business people, men and women, I'm sure, continue to suppress emotions and block emotions.
Totally.
And don't allow themselves to feel anything. Well, you're never going to be able to tap into your heart because you just cannot feel emotion anymore. You become numb.
That's it. So I like to use the metaphor. Steve, you've got young kids. Imagine if they come up to you and they're like, Daddy, I painted a picture. Look at my picture. Can we put it on the fridge? And all you do is go, I'll get to it later, honey. Go away. I'm busy. That's like your heart going, Steve, hey, I got something for you. And you're just going, shut up, heart, piss off. And if you do that,
so good.
if you do that for 10 years, what do you think the heart starts to learn?
I don't want to spend time with this person.
Not at all. Anytime I bring up a message, he's not going to listen anyway, so I'm shutting down.
Yeah.
And again, this gets quite deep into psychology and the way the body works. But I think if we were to wrap it up in like a nice succinct podcast piece, it would be to realize that it's not just your brain. Your heart and your gut are just as important. No one is more important than the other. But tapping into all three will allow you to make decisions in a way that will truly shock you.
I love it.
And truly work for you.
I love it.
Yeah, something to consider at least.
Brilliant. All right, number 5, team sales approach. It simply works. That's it. Whenever you're working on a big deal, you're stuck in progressing a deal, embrace the team approach. Raise it up to a figure of authority who can make contact on your behalf and see how things are progressing, or use a switch up, meaning you get a colleague to contact them on your behalf.
Nice.
Or at the same time. So bring in multiple people on a face-to-face meeting. Even like I've seen teams close $6 million deals by having the client on loudspeaker in the middle of a boardroom and saying, hey, so I've got Darcy and Matt here for you, want to chat on through, and like,
Nice.
so they know that you're all on together. Why does it work? Well, because the modern market wants to buy a collective, not an individual. They want to know that they have multiple points of contact and know they're going to be taken care of pre-sale,
Really
during
nice.
sale, and after sale. To make it super practical for you, I recommend that every major deal needs to have 3 people across it. So much so that the client knows 3 people within your organization on a first name basis and will be happy to chat with anyone there. This is probably one of the biggest things that's led to the massive, massive sales growth. Like some of the record deals is by selling as an organization,
Yes.
selling as a team, rather than selling as an individual.
Nice. How so? What's your evidence for that?
Main thing is the reduction of risk in the client's mind that they are going to get taken care of, which takes them to a place of seeing the future, and the future looks good with them.
Nice.
And it's a leverage point, because if I train my teams that they need to have like minimum of 7 touch points individually against every customer. So imagine you got 7 and then 7 and then 7 and then 7.
Yeah.
You got 4 people making 7 touch points on one client.
Yeah. They'll feel like family by the time the deal's done.
The other, your competing company that's trying to win the job, they might have maybe got out of bed.
Yeah.
They may be still waiting on putting together a proposal.
Yes.
And so you've done 27 touch points in that meantime. You're getting so deep into how they actually see the world, what's their problem, what's some solutions, what are their concerns. Like by the time it's there, they're just like, oh, there's just no other choice here.
Nice.
And so I suppose like anything, it's just work and time, but it makes it fresh for them.
Cool.
Instead of seeing the same movie 7 times in a row, maybe you see one and then another one, then another one. By the time it gets to the 7th, you go back to the first one. You're like, hey, this is a really good movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
I'm sick of your voice.
Yeah.
Anything to add on that?
I love that you can actually, when you take a team sales approach, you can actually leverage what's the technical term is borrowing the magic powers of someone else on your team. Okay.
Totally.
So it can be really powerful if someone on your team is quite well known in the industry or quite well known in your sphere, your market. Let's just say, Steve, if you were, you're quite well known in your market, right? So if I was speaking to someone and they knew who you were in this situation, this made up situation, one of the most powerful things I could say is, that's great. Tell you what, I'll send you the paperwork or you send it back. I'm going to go let Steve know we had this conversation and he's going to be pretty keen to call you around about, say, 4 o'clock. Are you going to be free? Or after that time, and then they're awaiting a call from Steve.
Yeah, cool.
And like, so now they've got a relationship with me, and also Steve, this person that they've heard of their industry is really good. They're going to personally call them as well. They're feeling
cool.
completely taken care of.
That's really practical.
Borrow
you
the
could even
magic
do that
powers.
with a figure of authority within the organization. Like imagine it's a big deal, and like, I know a lot of my audience is, project based, relatively small, medium, but some large.
Yep.
Imagine if you said, oh, look, Johnny is the CEO of the company. He'll be really stoked that we had this conversation and you're thinking about moving forward, or you are moving forward.
Yes.
He'll love to give you a call around 4 p.m.
Yeah.
just to say thanks and just chat on and say that we're here to support you.
That's great.
He'll really look forward to that, and I think it'd be cool for you guys to connect. Oh yeah, serious? Next thing, get a phone call from the CEO. Hey, Steve mentioned that we're looking forward to on this one.
Yes.
Thanks for the business, and we're here to support. Hey, how's everything going in the meantime?
Totally.
Huge.
Yep. Love
Huge.
it.
Love it. Let's do one more.
Great. Go for it.
Hourly opportunity cost. Think and act as if. This is going to be a big one. I don't think we've ever had this conversation.
Okay.
This has been another big one for unlocking mindsets and giving people a sense of confidence.
Okay.
Belief and confidence seems to be the big thing in sales. If you got it, you can sell. If you don't, you're stuffed. So this could be the one exercise you do that changes the game for how you show up, how you think, how you act, and most importantly, how you value time. For those who are time poor, everyone raises their hands, you need to know that it's not about finding more time. It's not even about maximizing efficiency and trying to cram more into a shorter space. No, it's about valuing time more. Whilst everyone wishes they have more time in their days and cries time poor, I can assure you that everyone also wastes time on things that seem important but actually aren't. Unnecessary pressure to create, do, behave, set up, explore, and develop things that wouldn't actually matter that much if they were taken away. Example, when was the last time you thought something was absolutely crucial, so much so that it was a top priority, yet one day you got busy, it fell to the bottom of the to-do list long enough that it evaporated over time and you realize that it wasn't actually that crucial, or it actually wasn't a top priority. Yeah, virtually everyone. So that's a long-winded backstory to show you how to have less stress causing crucial moments that aren't actually that important. Take your monthly revenue goal. Let's say for argument's $2 million. Divide that by the income producing days. So 2 million divided by 21 days equals $95,238 per day. Then divide that by the number of income producing hours. 95 grand divided by 8 hours in a day gives you 11,904 per hour. And then if you're in a team, divide that by the number of income producing sales reps. So 11,904 divided by 4 reps is just shy of 3 grand per hour. This is your hourly opportunity cost, meaning exactly what we need to be bringing in every hour on the hour for the whole day, rinse and repeat. Now this is the fun part. Imagine for a moment that you were a business owner, if you aren't already, and you have employed someone who is getting paid $2,976 per hour. What would you expect from them? Likewise, imagine that you were getting paid $2,976 per hour. How would you look? How would you show up? What attitude would you have? What would your routine look like? Where would you be spending your time? How would you be developing yourself? And if you've got that in your mind, act as if. Become that person and watch how you value time. You can also factor this this equation into making external decisions. How much time would it take me to clean these windows? 4 hours. That's 12 grand. Go hire Bob for 350 bucks. You've just successfully found a massive ROI in relation to dollars and cents, and now reallocate those 4 hours to something more valuable. Funnily enough, it's more about what you say no to than what you say yes to. It's also about seeking flow and balance, knowing that the long game is only game to play. Anyone can sprint 42 meters. Not everyone can run 42 kilometers. Let your yeses be defined by what you say no to, not the other way around.
What's your personal experience of this?
Personal experience
Particularly the last sentence.
Let what you say no to rather than the other way around. I found that saying yes is probably the easiest thing anyone can do.
So easy.
So easy to just blurt out a yes and commit and overcommit to everything.
Show you a quick example. People listening to the podcast just then, if you just agreed with what we said, you just did it. Does that make sense? Like as you were speaking just then, I was like, found myself nodding and agreeing with you and nodding along with what I said. Instead of, the most powerful thing to do would have been, what if that weren't true? What if Steve and Darcy just are talking rubbish right now? Maybe it's not true. And this is what we welcome so often in our content, Steve, is we always say to people, hey, tell us where we were wrong. Challenge us.
What's the thing you hated about
this?
Yeah.
What did you despise about what we did today?
Yep.
And it's not about finding out, it's not even really about finding out how we can be better. It's just encouraging people to find ways to say no. One of the best pieces of advice I ever was given is whenever you watch a speech, a TED talk, read a book, anything chunky, first thing you should look for is what did I disagree with about what this person said? Because if you're always saying yes and always agreeing, you'll say yes and agree to anything and everything. And then the power of your no's and yeses and the value of your yeses completely goes down because you'll say yes to everything.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then the other practical learning was just literally learnt this from my business mentor, like the whole cleaning your windows thing.
Nice.
You see a lot of people out there that are trying to do so much stuff themselves to save themselves money, full well knowing that they don't have the skills and expertise. Oh no, I'll just paint the house myself because it cost me 10 grand to paint the house. Meanwhile, it takes them 8 months to paint the house and it's pretty ordinary by the time they're finished. And so I practically weigh decisions up like this, and even recently, like behind us here, we need to hang all of these frames, and Matt's like, I could do it, and I'm just like, yeah, you could, but then that's hours out of your day where you're hanging frames. Like, there's so much more upside and value for Matt putting together this very video.
Yes.
Let's just pay someone to put the things up.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which is a practical way of doing it as well. It makes you think like a business owner. It makes you think like a strategic thinker.
I like that.
Rather than just trying to do it all, because then you just never have any time.
Yes.
And so it's the other thing. It's really, really important.
Nice. Love it.
So there it is. That's market trends this month.
It's our biggest episode yet.
That was big. That's probably an hour, I reckon. Is it an hour? No. Half an hour? 37 minutes? about that? Well,
let
we'd
us
love
know.
to know what you hated about it.
We would. We'd love to know. Number one, we'd love to know how long did this podcast go for? And number two,
What episode is it?
Yeah, what episode is it? And number
Three.
three, what did you hate about it more than anything
I
else?
think the other one is, have you ever burnt your mouth
Yeah,
on
yeah,
a
yeah.
long black?
Yeah,
And then decided
yeah.
never to drink long blacks again.
That's it. Nat, tell us about what happened the last time you ordered a long black in a takeaway cup, because I can predict exactly what happened. You burnt your mouth.
Oh, please. Please. Well, and on that note, we'll look forward to seeing you on the next Market Trends this month. Love for you to like, share, do all the things that most people say at the end of their podcast.
Tag someone who you think would hate this more than you.
Yeah. Who's going to be so annoyed? I want to see as many comments down below as possible of, why'd you tag me in this? Those content, that content. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you tagging me in this?
Yeah.
I'm not even in business. Anyway, on that note, see you on the next one.
Cheers.